Foundation that goes cakey in the smile lines by 2 in the afternoon, a shade that oxidizes orange on the jaw, powder that finds every crease around the eyes, and that gray, flat look in photographs that makes you want to delete the picture. If any of that sounds like your face, it is not your skin betraying you, it is the routine. I have been doing makeup in Korea for 30 years, most of it on women over 45, under lights that are far less forgiving than your bathroom mirror, and the fixes are smaller than you think. We are counting down the 7 things we do on mature skin that nobody teaches at the beauty counter. From number 7 all the way to the one that changes everything, plus 5 mistakes I would take out of your routine tonight. Number 4 is the one you are going to argue with me about. One thing before we start. These are not in the order you do them in the morning. They are in the order of how much difference they make to your face, smallest first. Number 7. We warm the product before it ever touches the skin. Every artist I trained under did this, and not one of them told me why. You put a small amount of foundation on the back of your hand, and you let it sit there for maybe 20 seconds while you pick up your sponge. Body heat thins it out. Cold foundation straight from the bottle onto cool skin sits on the surface and skids, especially in winter, and especially over any texture on the cheeks. Warmed foundation melts down into the skin instead. Same product, completely different finish. It costs you nothing and it takes 20 seconds, which is why it is only number 7. Number 6 is worth more than that, and it is the last thing that happens in a soul studio before a client walks onto set. We finish by pressing the whole face together. Once everything is on, take a facial mist, spray a light amount from a distance, and then press your clean palms flat against your cheeks, your forehead, and your chin, holding for a second or two each. What this does is melt the layers into one another so the base stops looking like separate products stacked on a face. The powder loses its dustiness. The cream blush sinks in. Everything reads like skin again. In 30 years, I have never once seen it skipped. Number 5 is the one I have to physically stop women from doing when they sit down in my chair. We press. We do not sweep. Watch a woman at her bathroom mirror in the morning, and you will see the same motion nearly every time. A long wiping stroke across the cheek, like painting a wall. On skin with any fine lines at all, that stroke does 2 things you do not want. It pushes product into the lines instead of over them, and it drags the skin sideways, which nobody at our age needs. This is the entire reason the Cushion Compact exists, by the way. When Amory Pacific put the first one on the market in 2008, it arrived with a little puff inside instead of a brush, because padding was already how we worked backstage. So take a damp sponge or your fingertips and press the product down in small stamping motions. Press, lift, press, lift. It takes about 40 seconds longer, and it is the difference between a base that sits on your skin and one that looks like it grew there. And now number 4, the one I warned you about in the first 10 seconds. Use less than half of what you are using now. I know. When the skin changes, the instinct is to cover more, so you add another layer and then a third one to fix the second. But every extra layer is product that has to go somewhere, and on mature skin, it always finds the same 3 places: the smile lines, the crease under the eye, and those little vertical lines above the lip. In the studio, we start with a small amount in the center of the face, around the nose and the chin, and we work outward using only what is already on the sponge. The edges barely get anything at all. No foundation on the jaw means no tide mark on the jaw. Then, and only then, we spot conceal the 2 or 3 places that genuinely need it. 2 or 3, not the whole face. And yes, using less only works if what you are using is worth using, which is a problem we solve at number 1. If this is useful so far, subscribe. I put one of these out every week, all of it aimed at skin over 40. Number 3 is a habit almost every woman my age still has. We powder almost nothing, and we put cream on almost everything. Somewhere in the 1990s, we were all taught to set the entire face with a big fluffy brush and a compact of loose powder, and a great many women never stopped. Powder on mature skin is what makes it red, flat, and dusty in daylight, and it settles into every line you have and then sits there catching shadow. In the studio, powder goes on a small area, usually the sides of the nose and a thumbprint in the center of the forehead, and that is genuinely all. Everything else stays cream. Cream blush pressed onto the cheekbone with a fingertip. Cream bronzer, if you use it. Cream products move with the skin. Powder sits on top of it and waits to crack. Number 2 happens before you open a single piece of makeup, and it is where most of the result actually comes from. We spend longer on the skin than on the makeup. In a soul studio, before a drop of foundation appears, there are usually 8 or 9 minutes of quiet work happening. A warm towel over the face, a hydrating toner pressed in with the palms rather than wiped on with a cotton pad and pressed in more than once. There is a Korean method called chil biop, the 7 skin method, where you layer that same toner up to 7 times, letting each pass sink in before the next one goes on. You do not need 7 on a Tuesday morning, 3 is plenty. But mature skin is thirsty in a way younger skin simply is not, and thirsty skin is grabby skin. It drinks the water straight out of your foundation before you have finished blending, and that is the moment it goes patchy and clings to the dry areas around the nose and the corners of the mouth. Give your skin 5 minutes to drink first, and your foundation will glide across it instead of dragging. Which brings us to number 1. Everything above this is technique, and technique will carry you a long way, but it cannot fix what is sitting in the bottle. We choose a foundation that adapts to the skin instead of fighting it. Your skin is not one color, and it does not stay one color either. It shifts with the season, with your hormones, with the temperature of the room you are standing in. So you match a shade in the shop under lighting designed to sell you things, you get home, and by mid-afternoon it has oxidized a shade warmer and your jaw is glowing orange next to your neck. This is exactly why the Luxe color changing foundation lives in my kit. It goes on as a neutral cream and then adjusts to your actual tone as it settles. So you are no longer gambling on a number printed on a bottle. It also stays flexible on the skin rather than setting hard. So when you smile at hour 6, it moves with your face instead of splitting into the lines. That is the finish women mean when they tell me they want their own skin back, just better. And apparently, I am not the only one who worked that out, because it is sitting at number 1 on Amazon right now. If you want to try it on your own face, it is linked in the description or scan the code on your screen. Put it on Monday morning over 5 proper minutes of prep, then go and look at yourself in a window at 4 in the afternoon. That is the 7. Do not go anywhere yet though, because knowing what to do is only half of it. And the 5 habits I want to take away from you are doing more damage than any of those 7 are fixing. Counting down again, and the last one is the one I see on more faces than anything else. Mistake number 5, shade matching on your wrist under shop lighting. Your wrist is not your face, and that lighting exists to sell foundation. Match along the jaw, in daylight, standing near a window, and then wait. Give it 20 minutes before you decide, because a great many foundations look correct on contact and creep warmer as they oxidize. Mistake number 4, mattifying primers and oil control products when your skin stopped being oily some years ago. Turn the bottle over tonight and read the front of it. If it says mattifying or oil control or shine free and your skin has not produced real oil since your early 40s, that bottle is fighting you every single morning. Those primers are built to absorb, so on drier, mature skin, they grab the foundation the second it lands and it goes patchy within seconds. Mistake number 3, baking under the eyes. Packing on loose powder and leaving it sitting there for 10 minutes was invented for young, oily skin under stage lighting. Under-eye skin at 50 is thin and dry, and baking pulls what little moisture it has left straight out. I had a client who baked every morning for years and could not work out why her concealer looked worse by lunchtime than her bare skin did. We took the powder away completely and started pressing a little cream in with a warm fingertip instead. Within a fortnight, she stopped asking me about filler. Mistake number 2, adding more product at 3 in the afternoon when the base starts breaking up. That is the instinct. You catch it separating around the nose, you reach into your handbag, you put fresh foundation over the top. Now you have wet product sitting on dry, broken product, and it turns muddy and rolls off in little balls. Do this instead. Blot gently with a tissue, mist lightly, and press it back down with your fingers. 9 times out of 10, the base you already have is still perfectly good and just needs waking up. And mistake number 1, reaching for full coverage to hide texture. It does the opposite of what you want. A thick, opaque base has nowhere to go except into the lines and over the raised bits. And the moment daylight hits it, every one of them is outlined for you. Sheer coverage over well-prepped skin will always look smoother than heavy coverage over dry skin. Always. Look at what all 12 of these have in common. Every one of them is about meeting the skin halfway instead of overpowering it. The prep, the pressing, the creams, the light hand. It is the same idea told 12 different ways. And if you are still arguing with me about number 4, settle it properly. Use half your usual amount for 1 week. Photograph your face on day 7 in the same light as day 1, and let the pictures decide. 30 years in this business, and it took me the first 10 to work this out. Your skin has not stopped cooperating with you. It has just started asking to be handled differently, and now you know how.